Hey guys, welcome back to another weekly developer diary. For this week, it's probably going to be a bit of a short one, but I'll just go through what I've been thinking about and some various notes I've been jotting down. So, as for the turn-based RPG idea, I've just been doing a lot of just jotting down and just writing down various ideas and concepts for the game. So, for example, I thought a good way before I started making the story for it was to like create the world for it first, so then I could make the story in that world. If that makes sense. So I felt like it'd be easier to make a story once the world's actually been made. So just for some various ideas and places, I thought, the first chapter of the game will take place in the hometown of the player, where there's going to be some sort of event or motivation that leads the player character to leave the hometown and go on a journey. Whether it's just them wanting to explore the world and help others, or whether it's for a darker reason, like maybe they've been accused of a crime or they've been exiled. For some reason or another, the player's going to be motivated to set off on a journey and leave the hometown after the first chapter. So another area I thought of was because I thought I want to create 5 distinct areas where each chapter is going to take place, for example. So the next area I thought of was an area I like to call the Scotch Valley. So my idea for this area is imagine just a desolate, desert in a sense, where, maybe not a desert, probably more akin to maybe a salt plain, where it's not really sand, it's just hardened rock. So just like a bit of a wasteland, where the what made this place a wasteland is that there's some sort of curse or just natural phenomenon where the sun each a certain time period, where it'd be like each year, every 2 years, will like burst up and blast everything in this Scotch Valley, and anything caught in that valley is instantly just disintegrated, overheated, and just killed, leading this to just be like a wasteland. However, to have a settlement there, I thought a cool idea to also make a settlement that's quite distinct would be that people live underground in this area, because obviously if they're underground, it's a lot cooler, they're more protected, and they don't get blasted. Blasted by the heat of the sun. So I thought for a settlement for this idea of a location could be that there's an underground cave where there's like a town there. Maybe, they've found an underground water source and a town is communed around this place. And whenever this phenomenon does happen, where the sun blasts everything, there's maybe somewhat of an urgency to make sure you are underground and not above ground. And I thought an idea for creatures that would be above ground would be creatures that have, for random encounters and just general enemies that would be above ground in this area, would be creatures that have adapted to maybe burrowing underground in order to protect themselves from the sun. And then another idea I had for this area would be there could be various ruins dotted around this desolate area that could maybe explain why this phenomenon happens. So I thought that would be a cool idea for just a unique sort of area, rather than having your generic desert. It's this desolate wasteland that's sort of cursed to have this natural phenomenon happen. So other than that, I thought of this area where it's like an island nation. I for now I've called it the Surrey Isle, where my idea for this nation or this area is that it's quite a poor economic area where there's a bit of a power struggle on this island, which has left a lot of the just civilians and people just struggling. So, on this island, there's going to be a lot of poverty and a lot of famine. And, like I put here, it's led them to have to resort to immoral means to survive because they've got no other option. So, they're having to poach endangered animals just for food. They're gonna be, stealing from each other and just having to do whatever they have to survive. So I thought that'd be a good idea to explore on like the morals when it is literally just life and death there. So it's like quite a nice. I thought it's like a beautiful like fairly tropical island. However, there's a lot of underlying issues like poverty and famine and like a struggle for power. I thought that'd be a cool concept for an area to explore. Another thing I missed out for the hometown is I like to give it sort of like an autumn theme or motif, and it'd be somewhat of like a farming town, quite a peaceful farming town that's probably maybe like out in the sticks, just out on its own, just so that the player just has quite like a sheltered, like humble upbringing. And then this one I've not finished the idea for it. I just thought I want one area to be sort of like a large city area. That would be cool. It's like a medieval like city area. I'm not 100% on what it would be exactly yet, but that was just an idea. And then I've also just started jotting down various ideas for chapters that I've kind of talked about while explaining the areas that I'm thinking of for the game world. Because I'm definitely thinking like overhead, top down. You explore this world and you have to do the chapters in the story that I explained in the previous dev diary. And then finally, I've just jotted down a few features that I quite like in various RPGs. So, like support conversations. I think I talked about this last week, but briefly, I'd say support conversations and interactions so you get a better understanding of characters and how they interact. I like having facial cutouts when characters are talking, specifically like main characters, so you can actually see their expressions. And I think having adjustable like experience gains is always a benefit 'cause it allows the player to tailor the difficulty to their like skill level or willingness to grind. But another thing I've been thinking about is if I do want to incorporate support conversations, and a good thing for the combat might be to have more than one main character, maybe, two, maybe three, maybe just your typical party of like four characters. So I'm definitely, a main thing will be thinking on how, what will be the motive for these four characters travelling together. I've got a few ideas that I might not share yet, but I've got a few ideas on what would motivate these four characters to be travelling together, whether it be as simply as that it's just convenient and they're all going to similar areas, or they're just travelling for safety, or whether it's something like they have some sort of shared goal in mind. But as for this week, that's everything I've got. I've been making just little touch-ups on various pixel arts, but nothing major to show. So that's everything for this week. So thanks for watching, guys. As for next week, I'm gonna try and get. I think if I am going to incorporate more main characters, I'm gonna try to do some more pixel arts, probably like this, just get the character designs down. It'll probably be this style, but obviously they'll vary in appearance quite a bit because I want each one to like look unique from one another. But they'll have this similar style where they'll have similar size like eyes and proportion wise. So I'll probably do that for next week and probably just hammer down some more areas of this world. I might draw out just like a rough, very rough, just like in paint, sketch of like the continent that this world might take place on. So that's all for this week. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next week. Alright, Peace.